Not just trends, briefings and wired. Learning how to design for voice. Agency based on blockchain.
Experience.
Tea and cake on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 o'clock.
Hello everyone, my name is Ekaterina Solomina. I'm the co-founder of Future London Academy. I'm here with Lawrence Webber, managing partner of Karmarama. And we are here today to talk about innovation, creativity and how Karmarama creates their amazing campaigns.
So Karmarama are a creative agency. We have been going since about 2001, founded on the principle of good works, which if you showed people other rooms in this agency, you'd see plastered all over the place.
What is creativity and how can we measure it?
The modern creative process, when it's briefed, involves along the way more people. So it used to be a copywriter and an art director would sit with an idea and then talk to the planner about it and then present it to the wider team and then it would go to a client. These days, most of our ideas involve social content or technology. And so the people who are involved in coming up with an idea are different and there's potentially more of them. And the people that are involved internally with looking at an idea to make sure it's feasible or to develop it are also broader.
How do you become more creative yourself?
I have to, but like to anyway, read as much stuff as I can and not just not just trends, briefings and wired, but books about behavioural science and how the brain works and I think like anyone who's vaguely into the kind of strategic end of advertising, I'm interested in how the human mind works and how you can hack it and how things that have products and services are influencing the way we behave. If you're responsible for inspiring creative people, reading as widely as possible.
Any particular book you would recommend?
So at the moment I'm reading, I paraphrase the title, The Big Four by Scott Galloway, who's a professor of marketing from NYU and still runs, but just sold a company called L2. He's always a great person to watch on YouTube, brilliant public speaker, but his new book is about the impact and the kind of future impact of Google, Amazon, Facebook and Apple.
Yeah, how do you promote creativity in your company?
So I think part of that is ensuring we hire the right people and make sure they're problem solvers and interested in culture and inquisitive and interesting people in the first place, whatever their backgrounds. And then part of it is the office environment. We're quite famous for our, and I mean this in a nice way, over-designed office.
Yeah, your offices are incredible.
Our offices are quite incredible, but they do, you get used to them when you work in them, but people who aren't used to them, who come to them the first time, get a real lift and are slightly thrown off balance, which is kind of desired intention. And clients in particular find it a creative place to work.
What's the favourite place for people to be in the office? Maybe your favourite place?
So I really like the town square, which is the area in the middle of the agency that holds about 200 people, standing about 80 or 90 seated. And I like it because part of my role in the agency is to bring in outside thinking. And I just think it's a really good way of us holding events. We basically, anyone who's part of a society or a trade body that is roughly to do with what we do as an agency, we encourage to have meetings in it, bring outside speakers. Our developers are part of all sorts of kind of meetups around particular technologies. We encourage them to have these meetups there. And even people who have been involved outside of work in making a film or running a business who want to come in and kind of share their stories, we kind of encourage people to use that space as much as possible. People kind of comment when they've been in the office for a while that when there's not something going on in the town square, it feels like there's kind of almost something missing from the agency. So it's really nice to have people in it and using it and making it feel like a space that's living rather than just kind of a dead space you walk through.
You mentioned the work-life balance. What else do you do to make people happy?
So we have a variety of things actually, and again that's down to our fabulous HR team. So we have very simple things like we give people tea and cake on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 o'clock. Nice. We have a party every quarter that our ops team organise. Our operations team cook the entire agency Christmas dinner, which is a feat of mass catering for 350 people.
Wow.
We have a subsidised ski trip, so the more junior people in the agency pretty much go for free, the more senior people pay full whack, and we have normally about 100, 120 people go on that trip every January. Every team within the business has a training budget, and they will choose people from that budget to go to, kind of whatever inspiring conferences they think are useful. So that might be Cannes or South by Southwest. It might be a trip to the Tate to see the kind of latest exhibition. And then in a kind of more career-focused way, we offer people all sorts of kind of mentoring, both from within inside and outside the agency. And then all of the usual things like healthcare and gym membership, and depending on how long you spend on the phone, like free mobiles and things like that.
Anything that happened with clients and briefs, or any kind of project that went really wrong, maybe recovered later, but the point where you felt like, oh my God.
Part of what's interesting or scary about the process that I run as kind of the innovation process is doing stuff that doesn't work. So having projects where you try lots and lots of different things. And I think so that whole mantra of failing fast, or kind of failing is easy, I think is sort of not true, because I don't think anyone really likes failing, and I don't think clients like failing, and they don't like explaining to their bosses that they have failed. So trying to keep a process going where you're making mistakes and learning and iterating towards something better sounds amazing when people talk about it at conferences or write books about it. In practice, it's really, really hard. Not had any unmitigated disasters through that process, but we've definitely had times where the first few things we've tried haven't worked, and you've had to have kind of some kind of strength of character to kind of carry on.
Any advice for people who are failing at the moment or going through the rough times?
Just keep going. As I said, remember, it's marketing. It's supposed to be fun.
Any particular technologies that you're excited about at the moment?
Yeah, so part of my job is to be excited about pretty much all technology. The amount of advertising that Amazon and Google are pitching against each other for people to buy either Google Home or the Amazon Echo suggests that voice assistants are going to be part of the normal UK's family kind of experience next year. And so we are experimenting with quite a few different Alexa skills or general kind of voice skills. So learning how to design for voice is something that we have started to get better at. And so I think that will be a focus for our user experience team, is how to design an interface that has no words or pictures. And I think lots of people in creative agencies will be grappling with that. No one really owns the voice channel within a client, and I think part of what agencies have got to do is to help navigate that. I think blockchain next year, people will start to realise the potential it has beyond kind of cryptocurrency. So we're seeing startups use it to improve transparency on the supply chain, to do all sorts of clever things within engineering. There's a friend of mine's just launched a media, almost like a media agency based on blockchain, to give more transparency to digital media. So I think people this year have been experimenting quietly or privately with blockchain, and I think next year is the year we'll see people break cover with really interesting products. A technology that I think is still going to take a while to mature for me is AR and VR. So VR is an incredible amount of fun. I still don't think there's enough people with headsets in order for clients to use it for any more than a kind of an experiential thing.
Last question. For someone who is starting out in a creative agency, or maybe starting their own creative agency, what advice would you give them, knowing everything you know from your personal experience?
Yeah, always due is a bit of people giving advice, but I would say there's a couple of things. One is be very focused about what it is that you're going to do. So we should be very good as creative people at being very clear about what the client's business or brand does so that consumers understand it. I would urge anyone who's starting their own business or runs a creative business to be very sure about what their unique proposition is. Even if 90% of what you do feels like the same as everyone else, there'll be something unique, and understanding that uniqueness is really important. And secondly is kind of, and it sounds a little bit flippant, but not giving up. There's been a lot of the early days of every agency that I have worked in or know people that have run or set up. Things have been very rocky, as they are with any new business. Often businesses are one client win away from becoming hugely successful or kind of folding or having to kind of retrench slightly to come back again. So yeah, it's kind of be very clear about what you're doing and make sure you believe in it and the people around you believe in it. Have a very clear purpose, again something we preach to clients, understanding what you are and what benefit you bring and the reason you get out of bed beyond making money, and then believe in it enough to kind of cope with the fact that the first year or so of your journey into that is going to be really hard and possibly not quite as much fun as you thought it was going to be.
Thank you guys for watching us. If you enjoyed our conversation with Lawrence, please do join us for Design Thinking and Innovation Week in March, where Lawrence will be presenting as part of Karmarama about their processes, about innovation, and about their way of doing things. So please do not miss out. There are links below this video to actually follow and book your place now. Also follow us on social media. We are posting a lot on our Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, so please do not miss the important news from the industry. And thanks a lot for being here, and see you next time.